Hello everyone, this is Shomnath Banerjee from Shomnath's Desk, and today we want to discuss new opportunities in iPhone and iPad as it applies to businesses. So before introduction, I just wanted to kind of level set, and we all know that what iPad has done. iPad has created a new way to get work done. iPhone, on the other hand, has brought your life in your pocket. So let's see what are the most recent trends. iPad 2 just got introduced last week, and by all analysts' estimates, the weekend sales could top 1 million. This has been unprecedented for a consumer device of this size. And this picture shows you like happy and very proud new owners are walking out from one of the marquee Apple stores in New York City. So, having said that, let's try to dissect this phenomena a little bit more. One of the key statistics which really captured me over the last few weeks was a statistic which came out of Good Technologies. They analyzed their customers and tried to dissect it, what fraction of the customers are coming from what sector. And the results were very, very interesting. Around 37% of their customers who are using iPads are from the financial sector, from the financial services sector, followed by a distant second by people like us who are in the high-tech sector. There are only 11%. And third was the healthcare sector. So as you can see, two very interesting things come out. Number one is the financial services sector make up about 37%, and between the top four, financial, high-tech, healthcare, and legal, they make almost like 60% of the entire new iPad users as they're using these devices, whether to get their own personal tasks done or also for business tasks. So the trends to note are enterprises will follow consumer experiences. We have seen this happening with Facebook. We have seen this happening with Twitter. Large organizations are setting up their own Facebook pages or setting up their own microblogging things so that their employees could be in touch with each other. And we believe smartphones and tablets will follow through the same trend, if it's not already going through it. Now, smartphones provide you some very unique things which makes it a strong candidate to be the new medium. There may be more, but things which appeal to me are all the applications using geolocation. Smartphones comes enabled with geolocation and a bunch of key features, things like the camera, the accelerometer, the motion sensors. So from using these devices, you can create a highly personalized application, which is very unique. And the brethren of smartphones, the PCs and the laptops, will have a very hard time matching those kind of device-specific thing. And to put all these trends together, a lot of industry analysts are saying that we are entering a new era. It's almost the dawn of a new era where we can say bye-bye to the traditional PCs and welcome in the tablets. And this is due to the combination of all these factors and more importantly the tactile nature of the tablets. So our interest is how does all these things apply to enterprises or businesses? More importantly, how do we get our work done? Now, if we bring up the topic that iOS in business, most of you will ask me, am I serious? Because people take it as a very successful consumer devices where we can play Angry Birds or we can do Talking Tom. But how are we going to take these devices to get our work done even? Well, before we get into those things, I want to kind of shine a light on a few things. For example, if I were to build an application for an iPhone, I would sign up a developer license with Apple, which cost me $99. But that's more of a consumer individual developer license. Very few people know that Apple also has an enterprise developer license which costs around $299 a year and which facilitates a lot of in-house development. And that this entire model facilitates organizations to build and distribute apps within their organization as opposed to cycling it through Apple App Store and making it available to the whole planet. So, this is a feature which makes or facilitates you to build applications for work. What are applications for work? We are seeing umpteen examples of business intelligence app, Salesforce automation app, collaboration app, and those kind of things. Now keep in mind when you come to business intelligence, Salesforce, it's very critical that you protect this data, and the nature and footprint of these applications are quite different from their consumer app brethren. So certain features are very, very key. So let's dig deeper into some of the features which Apple is providing to make these successful also in the workplace. So one very key feature is the data protection feature, by which you can lock and encrypt some of these files or information, because the last thing which you want is a list of your prospects going out and falling in the hands of your competitor. So even though you have lost your iPad, or remember that faithless Apple employee who dropped his iPhone in a bar. So in the event of a situation like that, your key information will be protected and nobody can access those things. The other key feature is the wireless app distribution. Now, when we are a consumer, we can take the apps, connect the USB cable to the iPhone or the iPad, and just get the apps managed from the iTunes. However, this will not work in a large enterprise which has probably 5,000 employees, and they want to distribute many apps among these 5,000 employees. So some kind of an over-the-air wireless app distribution is critical. The third thing is mobile device management. The moment you have 5,000 employees using these applications, IT has a headache to manage these devices. How do we get new people enrolled? Or how do we manage departures of these employees? When people depart, we have to take off these devices. Keep in mind, many of these phones and devices are employee owned but employer subsidized. So the employer picks up the tab, the monthly bill, but the device is owned by the employee because they are so attached to these devices. So in case of a departure, we need to find out which devices have left and take off those devices. Now, more importantly, if a hapless employee happens to drop the device somewhere which he doesn't know, we should be able to locate and even remote wipe the device, meaning getting rid of any corporate data from that particular device. Now, the other feature which is very important is the SSL VPN support. iOS, as we all know, Juniper and Cisco's of the world are coming up with different VPN software which creates a special tunnel to your enterprise and you can get work done. But what iOS provides you in this area is to make SSL very, very fast and doing encryption at a hardware accelerated level. So again, just to rehash, data protection, wireless app distribution, mobile device management, SSL and VPN support are some of the key differentiating features of iOS which makes it enterprise ready and business ready. Having said that, I want to draw your attention to another feature which I find very, very compelling, and I believe many interesting apps will be written in the upcoming future. This feature is called push notification. This is very important to tell you whether there are new crops which are ready on your farm, or baseball game is about to start, or John has just sent you a message. And this is very important because apps do not always have to run and poll for these server events. Apps just simply get a critical message from the server. And what I find very interesting in this is it is not a hard thing like a phone call which interrupts you in a meeting, or an email which gets sent to you and it takes your attention away from your current thing. It's a general tap on the shoulder. When you go to your iPhone screen, you can either see a little badge indicator with the number 3, which shows that the new items, there are 3 new items which deserves your attention, or it could be an alert, or it could be a sound. Now, a friend of mine gave me a classic example which really reached out to me. He said that his domains were getting expired and he was getting email alerts, but lo and behold, the email alerts were all ending up in the spam folder. And he didn't realize that his domains were expiring. Now, in case if these things were delivered by push notification, there were 2 things which would have happened. A, the push notifications would get locked up in a spam folder. But more importantly, when you get an email, you kind of scratch your head to find out, what do I do with these? But push notification also presents you the opportunity to give very focused call to action. For example, it can present a renew button for this domain, and my friend could have just clicked the renew button and responded to this event and take care of the situation immediately. So push notification gives you a general tap of the shoulder. It's not disruptive, and it will give you a very pointed call to action. So the key items to note are: enterprises will follow and adopt consumer experience. We believe financial sector will lead, and there is opportunity to create tremendous value with these new and upcoming features. Now, whether it is for the consumer or for the enterprise, I am very focused, or I feel very passionately about one thing, which is design matters. Now, this is the reason it's very important to reiterate this is when people reach out to the consumers, they hire top-notch designers, and they may want to make sure that the consumer experience is smooth, it's seamless, and the design is really taken care of. But many a times this gets overlooked in an enterprise, not by design, but just by fate, because people think, hey, it's only going to be used by a few thousand employees and we can just tell them or teach them, etc. However, design matters because unless you do the design properly, you'll end up with a construction like this. Anything goes, where it's running from everywhere, there are kind of staircases, scaffolding, and it just looks like a mess. Maybe people can put up with this, but this will be more of a mess in the mobile world. And if design is not paid proper attention, you can probably end up with something like this. Now, trust me, the last time I checked, my bathroom doesn't look like this, but there could be a bathroom like this somewhere without proper design. What we want is something like this, a very well-built house which is very well cornered, which looks very shapely from all corners. Now that requires upfront thought, planning, and design. Now I need to say that these slides I found from the last WWDC videos, and I found them so compelling that I thought that I will include them in this week's podcast. So at the end of the day, design really, really matters, whether it's consumer or for the enterprise. That's all, my friends. I believe there will be significant opportunities in the enterprise version of mobiles, particularly in iOS. You can reach me at an email, or I keep these blogs handy, and you can reach me you can find my blogs in the blogger, or you can send me a tweet and even see my LinkedIn profile. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye now.